104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 85. This week was my pick, The Puppet Master hunting the ultimate con man.
We got to make this quick. I got spy school to attend.
He's going to go become an agent. So this tells a story about a man named Robert Hindi Freegard. He was born in England.
Allegedly, his name.
Allegedly. Robert Freak. Actually, no, it's but
another scammer.
Another scammer. But in the essence of fairness, Jay's usually the one who brings these scammer ones in, but this one came up, and I was like, this one looks like a good one. Jay would pick it anyway.
I would pick it anyway.
So I was like, I'll do it first.
It was on my hit list.
But it's a crazy story. It tells a story about this guy who essentially just worked at a bar, and then decided either because he was.
I had to watch the first episode twice because it was so confusing.
Well,
I had to go back and watch it again. Because I was like, well, wait a minute. Who is this guy and who's this guy? And because they kept jumping timelines and jumping storylines.
Because there were so many lies that he told. Yeah, I was so confused. I had to go back. Man, like the first. Okay, so like he's working at a bar, and he like convinced these guys and girls that he's working for M15 or special brands of Scotland Yard, and essentially he starts like gaslighting them in a sense, even so much as to like basically claim that they were being threatened by the IRA and that he would protect them, but you had to do certain things. Now, whether that was give you money, he seduced some of these women, face a bunch of times, or in case of the guy, proving his loyalty by letting him get his
I have
ass
to toughen
kicked.
you up. I have to toughen you up. I'm going to teach you how to be a spy. Here, put this bag on your head while I punch you from all angles.
Note to self, if someone ever wants you to prove your friendship by letting you get the crap kicked out of you, you might want to check the friendship. Letting Jay borrow $5 is fine. Here you go, bud. Borrow $5. If you give it back to me, great. If not, that's fine. Who cares? You're my friend. That's more important. But if Jay was like, hey, man, you're going to have to go out the street, prove your loyalty to me, and there's like, 10 biker dudes waiting for him, I'd say, Jay, man, it was nice knowing
you're on your own here.
Good luck with Scotland Yard.
You're on your own here, buddy. So
essentially, this dude starts there. And I think in essence, when he did this as a barman and he could see it you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No.
Well, there's an episode where essentially the joke is that one of the characters is getting mad at his roommate eating his Thin Mint cookies. And so to get him to stop doing that, he creates this cult called, I think it's Ass Kickers United. And the number one rule of Ass Kickers United is you don't eat Thin Mints. They're evil. And so he convinces this guy this cult is real, starts sending him newsletters, and he stops eating his Thin Mint. Well, eventually his friends find out what he's doing, and they use this cult to get them to do other things for him. It blows it up, all this stuff. The episode's hilarious. But essentially, it's the same thing. And this happened in real life. It happened in real life, which blows my mind how gullible people are, and still to this day
people following for some crazy story again. Why?
Still to this day. Well, guess what? Next segment, Jay and I are gonna spill the beans on one of the greatest lies we've ever told on this Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. .7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 85, discussing The Puppet Master on Netflix. So, as I mentioned last hour, this guy was known for telling lies, but not just like, you look good, or I was with my friends last Saturday. It was like,
stories.
I work for Scotland Yard and I want to protect you from the IRA. Everyone's a spy. They're all out to get you.
Drop out of school. Let's go.
Yeah. And
give me all your money.
Give me all your money or whatever. Okay. So we'll get into some of the other lies later on in the next segment, because right now I want to talk about some of the lies that we've told. You want to go without getting you in trouble? Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first, because
greatest, craziest lie that you told someone and convinced something of.
Well,
without getting in trouble.
The only one I can really think of that's pertinent was when I was in 7th grade, or 8th grade, I was getting super bad grades. I was living with my mom primarily, and I hid my report card, and my dad was like, "What's up? What's your report card? You should have a report card right now." I'm like, "No, they're just not doing them." And I thought that was gonna I thought that was gonna fly. No, they're just not doing them. Yeah, they're not doing report cards this year, I guess. And He eventually called the school, and that was the time I remember getting in the most trouble I've ever been in.
Was you lying that they weren't doing report cards?
Pretty
anymore.
chill dude, but I think he was really so upset that he had threatened to put me in military school, pull me out and put me like.
Can you imagine?
Set it up like almost like took me to the place to tour it. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh, I bet you were scared to death.
I was gonna run away. I was like, I'm out. I'm gonna dip out. Yeah, it was a very close turning point in my life.
Damn! Can you imagine what would have happened if Jay Stevens would have went to military school?
I could have been an Imperial leader. Who knows? I'd be retired and
we'd be retired
general
right now.
I'd be a retired general.
Very rich man. Could have been. Could have been.
I could be running for president.
All right, my turn. When I moved to Cape Girardeau, it was like first grade, I think. I was a fat kid. Cape Girardeau it's not like Springfield in the sense where Springfield, for some reason, when you come in, you're a new kid. There's like this allure about you here. If you're like something new, everyone's like, oh, cool. That's like the way it happened when I came back when I was a sophomore.
The Eagles song.
Yeah, it was like, oh, hey, who's this guy? You know, if you're a cool dude, you're a cool dude. But Cape was so cliquey. And it took years to kind of ingrain myself. It's like through sports when everyone could see that I was good at certain things. Like, oh, yeah, he's a cool dude, whatever. But like I said, early on, fat kid, no friends. When I first started elementary school, it was called Hawthorne. I want to say in the second grade, they were flipping the name to Clifford, which was the name of the really popular principal they had who was retiring, and they wanted a new mascot. So they had a contest school-wide. Come up with the next school mascot, and then the best one would be voted on by the students, and whatever won. So my dad is an incredible artist, okay? I go home and I'm like, hey, I need your help. Help me with this. And my dad, being my dad, was like, okay, and just completely like takes it over.
Oh, nice.
Comes up with like 3 different ones. There was the Clifford Chiefs, the Clifford Cardinals, and there was a third one I can't remember. But he essentially drew it, the outline, everything, and I colored it. That was it. But then I turned it in as my own because that was the assignment. Second grade, right? I won the whole thing. And had to lie to the entire school that I came up with that thing, went into an assembly, and it remained the Clifford Cardinals for I don't know how many years. It's not like that anymore, I don't think. They gave me a shirt with the logo on it that my dad drew. I still have that thing. Talk about a lie.
And now the truth comes out all these
years
later.
If there's anyone in Cape Girardeau that was part of that, then you can call your friends and let them know that all those times you're like, you didn't draw. I was like, yes, I did. I didn't draw it. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Coming clean on some of our lives that we've told in our lives. You feel better?
Man, yeah. I mean, that was the major one, you know. There's been all kinds of little lies you tell the girls, you know. But
we're not going to get into that.
That could be a whole week segment, a whole week
of show. The Jay documentary that we end up doing on Dark Side of the Stream. All right, so back to the Puppet Master. Now, he starts off with these, you say little, but they were huge. They were literally lies so strong that these guys would go out and get their butts kicked, okay? So
it's crazy, and it just... It was very confusing
because he had so many different how did he keep track of this stuff? You think he had like a Rolodex? He's like, oh, there's Kathleen.
Yeah.
Let's see what lies it. Okay.
That's a part of
what
lying.
Lies did I tell her?
They're very hard to keep up with.
I can barely remember to do the chores that my wife told me to do this morning. Didn't let alone know like 5 other chicks that I've got whole nother lives with. It goes back to what I've always said about the criminal mind. There's a very small difference between people that are like mad geniuses that are able to completely do some really crazy, awesome stuff, and people that use it for evil.
Yeah,
because it's like you look at them and you're like, dude, how could you keep all these things straight in your mind? You must have just a brilliant mind.
Yeah,
you could have used this.
Probably an amazing multitasker. Like, yeah,
could have been a CEO somewhere.
Could have been a real agent
or a real agent. Yeah, hell yeah, he could have been
a real spy. You know.
So essentially, he, after kind of starting off when he was a barmaid and gets these guys and girls. I mean, at one point he like convinced people they had liver cancer and that he went on a farewell tour and he would get these women to go basically live like with nothing and give them all their money. And he was, jet setting, acting like he was James Bond. And we're not talking about just like girls that are not that smart. We're talking about actually one of these chicks was college like a child, girl, college psychologist. We're talking about like pretty cool, smart chicks, high society. all through dating apps. Surprise, surprise. But eventually he would get, I think originally they charged him with kidnapping because he had convinced these women to go to places. And in a sense, they looked at that as kidnapping. Well, the problem with that is they went on their own accord.
Right.
So originally he was charged with like life in prison because of what he did and all the money.
Right?
When he appealed it, the argument was like, look, they wanted to go there and they went there. Now the money thing, that's whatever. So I think he like served what, 2-3 years of like a 9-year sentence.
Out skated and out doing it still.
And he's out.
Doing the hustle.
He's out. He's a free man right now. And there's actually one of his victims that is still in hiding. We'll talk about that next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The K. .7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time for our episode of Dark Side of the Stream discussing the Puppet Master hunting the ultimate con man. Now, he was an ultimate con man, Robert Hendy Freegard, and he would get tried and arrested and eventually sentenced to life in prison, appealed it, basically said I wasn't kidnapping anybody, and then got out in 2009. According to the Netflix documentary, he lived and worked in France where he traded luxury dogs. And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And he basically after that, I was reading because I always, when we do these, especially when they're out, I'm like, okay, where the hell is this dude now?
You go rabbit holing a little more.
There was I think it was Daily Mail article about his latest victim or the chick he's lying to. She's in France. She has 2 grown children. I think they were like in their late teens when they filmed it. They're in this documentary. But she's still like in some small town in France. And anytime she gets approached, she calls a man on the phone. That's what the journalist said. And she'll like, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? So she's obviously still under his control. Man. And so after they had done the article about this woman, Robert had taken a picture of the journalist outside of the home she lives in France and sent it to the Daily Mail saying, be careful what you press or you publish, like basically threaten a lawsuit about what they claim that he's doing. And so he was obviously outside of the property watching it. Amazing. I don't even know like how the woman can just be like cool with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? We get convinced of stuff every day that we believe that are just like, dude, what the hell? So I guess in the sense of luxury dogs, how many luxury dogs would you give this documentary?
I guess 3.5 because it's just another wacky story. It wasn't anything too crazy. It was a little bit too weird because I got confused, had to watch the first episode again. But it's just another one of these. It's
just like a how
the list goes on.
If you got the mental capacity to remember all the lies you tell, I guess this is how you do it. If you want to be, if you want to use it for good, then I guess work for the FBI. I'm about the same 3.5. Luxury dogs.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there shaking your head going, what in the hell is wrong with you people? Anyway,
guys, show it to your ladies. They'll think you're not such a bad dude.
Hey, you want to watch this documentary? Take a lesson.
Man, I'm lucky I have you because these other guys are terrible.
God, thank God you never told me a lie like that. Exactamundo. All right, so Jay's turn next. Dark Side of the Stream.
HBO Max, The Invisible Pilot.
All right,
it's very close to home, Arkansas. It took place mostly in Arkansas.
Cool. Okay, I'm down.
It's at the end of the first episode. It's an epic twist, and then you get to find the story out more. It's crazy.
Cool. HBO Max. If you don't subscribe.
Bootleg it where you can bootleg
it. Get your mom's password like we do. If you want to subscribe to us, do it on YouTube. You can watch these videos every week. Thursday at 9, also on Facebook Live or as podcasts on our 104.7 The Cave app. I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you, we watch
documentaries
so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.